Welcome, 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 welcome. We are here. We are here. Juice Champs, the podcast. We back at it. Welcome, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We live with another one. We took a couple weeks off. Had to get some things together. When we back, we fresh at it. We got a special guest tonight. Me and Lachey bringing my brother on, who we had on before. Y'all know him very well. And we're going to get into a lot of discussion tonight, family. We just glad to be back. Glad to get the ball rolling. So like I said, welcome. Juice Champs, the podcast. We back. Fruit Up community, Fruit Up Facebook community. What up? And I'm going to just get straight to it. Lachey Taylor, Tiger Carper. What's going on, family?
Hey, hey.
How y'all feeling?
I'm well.
Great,
How are
family.
you?
What's going on, Tiger? How you doing, man?
I'm feeling great, family. I'm feeling great.
Always good to have you. Good to have you. Lachey, been a couple weeks. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be back. It feels like it's been a couple of weeks.
It do. We gotta get the dust off of us,
Yeah,
It-
I'm happy. My show is back. You know what I'm saying? I be lurking on the weekends, trying to catch it. You know what I'm saying?
Fact,
And I was like, dang. So I'm happy y'all back.
Indeed. I got my lemonade with me, sipping on a little lemonade that I made.
A little bit of watermelon juice,
Watermelon juice. Hey,
of course.
it's been a crazy summer. It's been a lot of things going on. Talk about Tiger. We start off with you. Talk about just the summer. How your summer been, man?
Man, it's been it's still been a transformational summer, I would have to say. Because we started the summer off. Remember, I was interviewing you, and we was talking about like this huge transformation that's been happening, and that's going to happen this summer. So we've seen that and more. I think. I don't
Fact.
think any of us at the beginning of it thought that like everything else that's happening right now would be happening at the same time that everybody's trying to make this transformation. So it's thrown a lot of people off that aren't. I mean, to be honest with you, people that aren't vibing high and on a high frequency, it's causing a lot of division, a lot of problems, a lot of things going on in our community and the Facebook community, fruit community, and in society in general. You know what I'm saying? Um, we knew there was going to be attacks on the fruit community and the things that we were talking about, the things that we were doing. Um, but I think, like you said, the people that did the work, the people that we consider, some of the strong ones, they made it through. We're here. We're still here. We're
Right.
still here doing the same things. I mean, there's people that leveled up from the whole transformational summer. We see Lachey. She not only came back, but she doubled down on her comeback. You know what I'm saying? With going through the juicing, starting her own podcast, doing some other things. You've certainly leveled up. We've seen that. Me myself, I've gained so many more followers and so many people from you guys' movement, and I know some of the people that joined our movement joined you guys as well. They love you guys. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that keep me updated on Lachey's YouTube and Lachey's podcast. They be like, "Did you see that?" And they will remind me, "Oh yeah, I got to go watch her last episode." Same thing with you. I'd be like, "I got to tap in with Bobby in the morning." You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So I think by all of us staying connected, we were able to accomplish some goals, get a lot of things done. But on that other end, we have to talk about that too. There's always the other end. A lot of people that were with us at the beginning are no longer here. They're no longer around. They're no longer, participating. You know what I'm saying? Not. I see a lot of people not even posting at all, and and it leaves me to wonder. You know what I'm saying? Like why? I know a lot of people have problems, and a lot of people go through things, But you was talking about it a couple weeks ago, how people were just disappearing from the platform.
Yeah.
Uh, you know what I'm saying? But overall, I would have to say, to finish the statement, overall, I would have to say, um, it's been a great summer. I've seen a lot of great things happening, and my experience is growing, and my audience is growing. My network is growing. So overall, with myself, I'm happy. I'm happy that a lot of people around me were able to find their journey and stick to it. I see a lot of people that dropped off also coming back at the end of the summer too. So I'm happy about that.
Facts, facts. And you know what though? You made an interesting point when you said Lachey came back. Shout out to Betterism from Lachey going down
Yeah.
every week. It's been that type of transition this summer, family. Like we've been going in, we've been putting out a lot of content. I said the other day on the morning show, I heard Charleston White. Y'all know, each of y'all know Charleston White, right? Heavy content
Yes.
creator on YouTube and all of that. He said
Hmm.
that the content creation, right? Content creation since the pandemic was they made $250 billion, right?
Wow.
Content creators. So in the next 3 years, that number is expected to grow to double in the next 3 years. So we're talking about $500 billion in the next 3 years on content creation. And like now you see a wave of people starting to come out, create content, start their shows, interviews. Lachey, what's your take on the movement? What you seeing out there?
It's a digital gold mine. It's the digital gold rush. You know
Mm,
how they had the gold rush back in the like pre-industrial revolution stage? Like this is the gold rush, but in the digital form, because with time we evolve. And right now we are in the age of information where data is the currency versus even intrinsic metals like gold and silver and anything that you can mine from the
Hmm.
ground. And so it's like we're in that grassroots phase of the digital revolution, so to speak. And it started a while ago. Like I wish I got serious about content creation back in the early 2000s when YouTube had just became a thing and blown up. It's crazy because I remember I had created a video that I uploaded on a YouTube channel like back in like 2008, 2009, and I was talking about the government subsidizing young women's lifestyles, women who are on like Section 8 and welfare and having kids and using those kids to create a life for themselves versus getting married and having like a platonic family and then just like having like just raising their kids that way, the nuclear family, so to speak. I think it's a platonic, the nuclear family. But anyway, I was talking about how the government enables certain people. And I was just speaking my mind at that time. I was young. That was just an opinion. But when I look at that video, it had like over 40, 50,000 views. And I'm like, whoa, like that wasn't even my goal. It was just me one day just talking, recording myself on my little phone and then uploading it. And then it ended up. But if I had kept doing that, imagine how many followers. I'd probably have like over 1 million followers. I'd probably have a whole platform talking about things of that nature. But now I feel like we have like this new wave or this second breath, so to speak, of just tapping into that. And it's not just only for monetary gain, but things are changing in the world. And people are shifting from having faith and belief in mainstream media and these institutions that have historically lied to us. And we notice the patterns at this point, and we're no longer just like blindly believing in these so-called official narratives. So now we all have a platform. Now we all get to be a reporter in a sense. Now we all get to just like be our most authentic selves and attract people who believe how we believe or resonate with our messages. And it's beautiful because we're all creating little microcosms of our own echo chamber, I suppose. And I don't want to like create a whole bunch of confirmation bias in all the groups where people only trying to attract themselves to people who believe what they believe in. But I also believe that we have an opportunity to reach people from all walks of life where they also realize, oh, I'm not the only person who believes that this person or this political party is full of crap. You know, like I thought only this demographic that I am a part of believe this way. And I assumed that that demographic was all monolithic in their thinking. But now we're all coming together because we're all using our platforms to use our voice. No matter how hard they try to silence us, I think it's important for us to just be creative with using our voices while learning how to get around the keywords, so to speak, because that's how we're going to bring ourselves together when they're trying to create a wedge or a divide. So I believe that a lot of what we're doing is extremely important to not only help ourselves by using this as a tool of enrichment, but also by bringing ourselves together when there is a concerted agenda to create a wedge between the different classes and the different parties and the different demographic groups and all of that. I think it's all beautiful. I think it all works together ultimately at the end. So yeah.
Indeed. It's like you said, it's the rush. It's that time though. I believe it. When you hear numbers like that, I think right away, Tiger, like 500 billion. Let me start creating some content.
Yeah,
Like, it's that time.
but I do, and I believe in what Lachey just said, but also what you said also. Um, even with the kind of they're what should I say? They're like even though that you can see that they're silencing us. You know what I'm saying? On Facebook, I see so many people struggling because they hype you up to get that professional tag, right? And then you got to create a certain amount of content. But then once you start creating that content, you know what I'm saying? It's cool at first. It gets you out there, get expanding, get you some friends. But then it just feels to me that they cut that down. You know what I'm saying? In half and then down to quarter. So um, but there's like she said, there's always somebody that may feel that same way and talking about the same things just from a different angle. They might know some of the key words of what not to say. They know they might be more creative in putting together their reels in order to get that information out there. So I still think they have a big control over what we say and what we feel like we're getting it out there. But it all comes down to me. It all comes down to experience. Experience is always the best teacher. Instead of listening to these mainstream media, and then when we talk about mainstream media, we're talking about Google also. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the source we go to whenever we say we're gonna go find something out, or let me research this real quick, and then you go to Google and to search it, and you read the first five things that come up, and you say, all right, yeah, I know about this topic now. When really you haven't even begun to scratch the surface. You know what I'm saying? When we start to realize that these are the same people that are lying to us all over and over and over again, but they're just in different departments and different, you know what I'm saying, different departments. So they operate different things, but they still all party together. They all got the same agenda, and that's just to keep us oppressed in the dark. To keep us in fear. You know what I'm saying? So, like she said, we got to keep coming up with creative ways to express ourselves. As long as we can, remember what we're here for and, be authentic, I think we got a great chance of doing that. And I see it all the time, especially if you're connected with the same people that we are. It feels like we're in that stream of people who, like, I don't see a lot of people complaining no more. I don't see a lot of obesity. I don't see a lot of bad eating on my timeline, unless it's some of my friends that I have from the very beginning. I see more of people like exercising. People are more figuring out new therapies and things like this electroshock therapy and all this stuff, and it's really working. It's really getting results for so many different people, which even opens my mind to more things. There's more things out there. There's so many different healing modalities out there, but it all ends up being ancient stuff that I feel like we just forgot about over time.
Yeah, I feel like we have a to get back to a point you made about how like we find creative ways. It's a resiliency, so we adapt. It reminds me of African American history here in the United States, how there's always been this agenda to suppress our empowerment and our growth and us like moving ahead as a collective, as a group, like other groups have been able to. But the harder they try to make life for us, the stronger we get. Life never really got easier. We just get stronger. So no matter how much they try to silence and suppress and make things harder for us to get certain messages out, it just forces us to be more creative. It forces us to adapt. It forces us to become more resilient. It literally creates a more inherent strength within us that makes us more adaptable. It's almost like a virus that becomes more resilient, or like that becomes more
To the
resistant
disease, yeah,
to antibiotic or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that, as much as they try to suppress us and keep us down and make us weak, it doesn't work that way, because as long as we still have life inside of us and we have breath and we have an intention and a purpose, all you're doing is you're creating more obstacles, but obstacles make us stronger
Right.
as individuals. And if we work together and we collaborate with each other, it just makes us even stronger as a group. So
Yeah.
yeah, like that's all I really wanted to say. I know Bobby was getting ready to say something.
No, I was just about to ask, like, in the world of when we got to come up with ways, like you see how on Facebook in particular, that's where a lot of us dwell at. They're guiding the content. So pushing fruitarianism, pushing a raw diet, it now is considered like what you call it, is like you get flagged for it. Malnutrition, promoting malnutrition lifestyle, right? So now in the world of content creation, well, we being restricted on what we can share. Like Lachey said, we got to be consistent, spreading the message, coming up with new ways. Tiger, in the world of content creation, what's the biggest misperception about content creators and influencers since you started? You've been working on this end.
People think it comes easy. First of all, I would have to say it seemed like it was a little bit easier before election year. It didn't seem like there was a big attack on fruit. I got to remind people I was in the fruit game and the herbal game for a while, and the last time that we had a problem with the censorship was 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I feel like it's a lot easier, and I feel like even after this election, it might blow over and go back to normal. But the question is, will there be enough damage done with the misinformation for people to just go back to doing things to their in their normal daily habits? You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of people that learned a lot of things during the pandemic, and then when it comes back around, it's like everybody forgot that. You know what I'm saying? And they're going through it all over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? It was a merry-go-round. But to get back to your question, um, so you said the biggest misperception. right?
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
I think that people think it's easy. You know what I'm saying? I think people think you just get on here and you just talk, which it can be. You know what I'm saying? I know it was a lot easier back in the day, um, but I just don't think that it'll be sustainable if you're not switching up the topics. There's a lot of things you got to learn. With just being an entrepreneur, period. You got to know, is it worth your time? If you're wasting a lot of time doing this, and you're not getting a lot of money back in return. Obviously, you would have to make it like a side hobby until it can you can finally start making enough and learning enough about it to sustain you. And that usually comes with a lot of followers. So um, I think you really got to know your niche as far as being a content creator. As an entrepreneur, if you have products, it gets a little bit deeper than that. I mean, you got to be on your job 24 hours a day. As I'm sure you're a content creator now, and I'm sure you guys, do you guys are on it most of the day. You know what I'm saying? And you get better and better and better. Me myself, I'm really not interested in being a content creator. I'm really not. I'm just not. Just to be honest with you. I do a lot of work behind the scenes, and I work with a lot of people behind the scenes, and that's where my fulfillment comes from. That's where my passion comes from. You know what I'm saying? Helping people, reverse their illness and get back to homeostasis. You know what I mean? So they can start making those important decisions and living their lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Facts, facts. Entrepreneurship, business, selling
Oh
what
my
you
goodness.
man, what you over there, soul fuel, the herb.
So
Uh
I
I'm
mean,
gonna I'm gonna tell you like this, Tiger. When I got online, um, I never said I'm gonna be a content creator or nothing like that. I just started creating content. And the
yeah,
more content you create, the more you know what I'm saying, like you start to engage with other people, people start to find out who you are, la la la. I had to switch the format. I started off, a lot of my content I came out vulgar. I came out, you know, with my true personality, raw, authentic. I didn't know much. I was just navigating the internet how I wanted to. But now I'm starting to see being your true authentic self on the internet is one of the toughest things to do, family. In the
mm,
line of business, we step out here, like people be like, Bobby, I wish I could do what you could do. You got all this time in the world to do this, and you ain't got no job. This is the job. You know what I'm saying?
that's the
Like
job,
you
man.
been online all day talking to y'all people, putting all these content out, master your
Yeah,
mornings. We doing juice chats. We helping the people out. We got groups available. In the world right now, me and Lachey was talking about earlier. All this stuff going on in the world. Prices, everything high in the world. People struggling out there. Um, it's rough right now. And I'm glad you
yeah.
brought up the election year. What you think about the election, man? Like, are you a voter? Are you into politics? What's
No.
your take on this show that's going on right now?
To keep it short, I believe those people are selected. They're not elected. I believe it's just one big show. You know what I'm saying? People can say whatever they want, but in my time on this planet, I cannot think of one person who I felt really led this country like a leader. Like I feel that someone should lead a country. You know what I'm saying? And I know that they're like, oh, there's so many different things that they have to do to get this passed and this passed. But if you've been a conspiracy buff like I have, all roads lead back to the money, and the money leads back to the same families. You know what I'm saying? And I believe these people are selected, and I don't like to waste a lot of energy on it. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you.
We
I,
got one
I look at it. I use it as comedy. It's funny to me, just like you're watching like a TV show or wrestling or WWF wrestling.
fact.
That's what it reminds me of.
Facts. We got Lachey, we got one this year, that's actually selected. Like, think about it. Nobody selected Kamala Harris to be the president, family.
No one her. No one literally voted for her. You're supposed to vote for who you want your candidates to be. You know, you're supposed to have that electoral process. She was not elected. It was literally like I'm sorry, Joe Biden comes out and says, "Oh, I recommend or I support Kamala Harris as the next president." And then all of it, like everything that they're doing is so overtly anti-constitutional, like unconstitutional, that it's like they're playing in our faces and they're using identity politics to cloud us and distract us from the fact that what they're doing is not even legal. So it's an insult to our intelligence, and then they use these political candidates they use identity politics because they know that they need certain demographics to win in certain key states or battleground states, all these things, these terms that they use, these political keywords that they like to use on the media to get people like really involved and invested in the whole political process. So they'll use identity politics like race. So they'll use a woman who is melanated, will call her Black, even though she has not identified as a Black woman. Just because someone went to an HBCU does not mean that they identify as someone Black. You know, non-Black people can go to HBCUs, and HBCUs tend to actually be more affordable than other universities. So it's not like you have to be Black to go to an HBCU. There are all types of people who benefit from the Civil Rights Act. And the Civil Rights Act had, there's all kinds of grants and all types of things created for different ethnic groups that they'll call colored, but the umbrella of a person who is considered a minority, you can be Asian, you can be Indian, you can be African from like Africa, you can be a woman that's considered a white woman is considered a minority because they're not a white male. If you're not a white male, you're considered a minority. So you can receive all of these benefits under the Civil Rights Act. You can be considered a protective class under the Civil Rights Act. So things that are exclusively created for Black people, that was fought for by Black people, aren't necessarily even benefited from by Black people. Everybody else gets to benefit. And this is what they do. And they even did that to the reparations argument. When Black people started saying reparations for the ascendants or the descendants of enslaved African Americans or enslaved Black people of America, that's who reparations should go to. Then all of a sudden they started to muddy the waters. They started to debate, what's considered who gets reparations. Now they're playing with it. They're talking about different ethnic groups. You have Hispanics talking about, well, we were slaves too. And you got all the, so like, this is what they do to confuse us. And then they have all this infighting going on. They have us distracted from like the very overt illegal things that the games that they play in front of us. We'll just sit here and accept it blindly. And then they won't even give us policies. Like they won't say what they're going to do for our community in exchange for our vote. They'll just start talking about Donald Trump, because so that means you don't take us seriously enough to have a serious discussion. No, we're just going to have Kamala Harris come on, have her, have put on a black scent, make sure she brings hot sauce wherever she goes, just like what they did with Hillary Clinton. They had her go on the Breakfast Club and bust out a bottle of hot sauce. I go, I put hot sauce on everything that I like. Bitch, you know some goddamn like it is so insulting. Like I'm over it. It's definitely a show. The world is a stage. We use Black people as pawns. We allow ourselves to be used as pawns. We get so emotional when we start talking about race, as if the Republicans are more racist than the Democrats. Like, do you know that the Republican Party was actually a party that was created by African people? like during the
Yeah.
Reconstruction. Like, just I'm over us being. So it's just a
Yeah.
joke to me. I don't pay any attention. I'm not voting for anybody or anything. I'm good.
What she said.
You voting Tiger?
Hells no. I don't know. No. And I don't care what nobody says about me either. I've been saying that for years without explanation because I don't need to explain anymore. I
Right.
feel like once you understand something and you finally internalize it, then you don't really even have to argue. Like my beliefs, the way I eat, my diet, I don't have to argue with people. If I know it works and I know I'm doing what I'm doing is right, then I don't really have to argue with anybody about it. I just felt like that was a waste of energy, and I wasted so many years just being upset, arguing with people about it, losing friends, losing family members. You know what I'm saying? How could you not vote for this person? How could you not do this? Did you ever think about this policy? But how many of those policies ever come to light after they get elected? People forget about that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it never happened. I'm like, you don't remember when you said the only reason why you voted for that person was because they was going to do this? Did they actually do that? No, they didn't do that. And then it becomes well, you got to defend them because they're black. You got to defend the brother. You know what I'm saying?
Like you said,
So, like she said, I'm over it, bro. I've been over it for a minute. It's like comedy. I sent her some earlier today, and I just think this stuff is comedy, bro. I think it's like I said, like it's WWF.
I
It's that
promise.
fake.
A lot of people don't realize, like, when you get it, like, the reason why I got into fruitarianism is because I was on the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm,
most of the time, you tell somebody I eat all fruits or something, you speak in a language, right? So I
right.
got into this because I know what it is. I know the world is a stage. When I'm watching this election stuff, it's so hilarious to me. I'll be talking to Lachey all the time. Like, did you see this? Did you see this? Like, it's just so hilarious to me.
Yeah.
What do we do? What do we need to focus on? Like, if the politics ain't doing us right, if we're not supposed to be voting, the world is a stage. What are we supposed to be focusing on? What's the right way to go?
Um. Don't. I mean, I said it before. Um. There can be some things that get done on a local level. I've seen it, and I can only go off experience. I keep bringing that up. I've seen some. Some people in the community. Want certain things done in their community, so they'll put their candidate in. They'll vote for him. They'll get passed, and things get done to a certain extent, to a certain degree. So I think locally, sure. I mean, if you want to, but on a bigger stage, I just don't. I just think there's a lot of people that there's a reason why they call them puppets. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that want to try to push agendas and get things done, and they pay a lot of money for it. You know what I'm saying? They pay a lot of money to get this stuff done. These lobbyists, you know what I'm saying? And I think they got their hand up both asses on both sides. You know what I'm saying? That's just how puppets work. I think some things that we can do is some grassroots stuff, some stuff like I was just talking about. Um, you know, I link up with a lot of people online, but then I talk to them. We get more work done offline, okay? Because the character comes off, the mask comes off. Then it's just about what you know and what kind of results can you bring, okay? I think if we focus more on that, and keep connecting with good people, because like you said, um, there's some good people. I've met some good people through you guys and just being online. Period. Some good people. They struggle with different things. It's not always about just fruit or eating one type of fruit. I mean, people got real stuff going on in their lives, Bobby, as you and I talked about. And that's what it's about. Being there for one another if you can, if you have the means to. Sharing your resources. I don't even know how I got into a group where they were actually talking about, it's like a Leaving America group, what to do when leaving America. And I thought it was a little extreme at first, but when I was listening to it, they're actually helping each other, when they go to a different country or a different place, they actually share resources with you so you won't be out on the street, or so you can work and be able to function in another country. You know what I'm saying? So I think groundwork like that getting laid is things that we need to do. Those are other things that we need to start thinking about whenever you talk about change coming. You never know how it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? If you want to continue to do, being an entrepreneur, if you want to continue to operate how you want to operate, you got to do a lot more. You got to lay down a lot more groundwork. For me, the stuff that people don't see is well, when we're behind the scenes every single day, we're doing capsules. We're dehydrating capsules. We're getting sea moss and we're dehydrating it. We're blending it. We're doing all these different things, and that's just one day of work. Then the next day of work is packaging stuff like that, and then keeping them fresh. There's always a challenge to be met if you have your own business. But now we start seeing different ways, different herbalists, and how they're doing stuff, how they're packaging stuff, and that is called evolving. When you learn from each other and you get better and better, and I think we're doing it on the most part, for the best part, digitally, as Shay said, we're really doing the work, as we can see, because most of it, all of it, if not, is based off of real life experience. People getting out here showing you their process and what they're going through. I think it's helpful for a lot of different people.
Facts. I think, man, I really can appreciate that. Like the real behind the scenes, what's really going on. Like a lot of people don't realize when you take a leap of faith on yourself and start anything in entrepreneurship. Last year, when I quit my job doing produce, right? I didn't know that I was about to work much harder for less money.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know I was about to have to deal with more bosses than I ever had, because your clients become your bosses. One thing,
Yeah, man.
it's tough.
I'm not, man. Because that's how. Listen, somebody asked me, because I help people sort of do the same thing what you do, try to find their niche, and how to make it into a business. And somebody asked me, like, how do you know that that's your passion, though? You know what I'm saying? What if you just leave and you don't know it's your passion? I said, man, it's one of those things you got to know. Like, have you ever been at work or been at school and you just be daydreaming and thinking about like doing something else, like daydreaming? I know I have. Like when I was younger, it was like sports or music, or something that makes you feel alive. You know what I'm saying? You're always daydreaming about that. That's how you know if you rather be doing that than anything else. When there was times when I've been at work, and you know what I'm saying, I wish that I was doing music at the time. I started writing stuff down, writing stuff in my head. We couldn't have our phones, so I write stuff in the bathroom on toilet paper and stuff like that. I did all that. um, those are your passions that are speaking to you. You know what I'm saying? When you're working at a factory or something like that, that's how you know what your passion is. And I don't think everybody's going to find that. That's what's so great about us. All of us can be doing different things. Like you might want to be a content creator, and somebody might not want to be on camera or create content, but they just like helping people, or they want to be behind the scenes doing this. And there's some other people that we need to fight politically. You know what I'm saying? If we want to make any strides or any steps, you know what I'm saying, with what we're doing. Perfect. To tell you the truth, I'm perfectly fine with being in the background, because whenever something is brought to the forefront, they're already waiting you know, with opposition already created. Um, that's why I don't like things getting too loud, and then they're like, damn. So now they know about that. So now they're going to start putting stuff in that, adding chemicals to that. You know what I'm saying? When I see
Mhm.
something that I used to eat, there were so many vegans, because I was vegan for a while. So I know the companies. And there were some companies that started off whole foods, and they were pure. And then just over like a couple years, I didn't even know that they've been sold to bigger brands and bigger companies. You know what I'm saying? And they pretty much sold out. And like Annie's mac and cheese, I used to get that all the time. And then she sold out, and and then started putting real cheese in her stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those are just little examples, like, that they just fizzle out over time. You know what I'm saying?
They sabotage us everywhere, everywhere. You know
They
what?
sabotage. They're waiting.
That's why one of the things, and me and Lachey talked about this because earlier I was talking about how do we get people to come together? How do we get to meet people where they at? I was an advocate, and Lachey can attest to this. I was one of those people who came out on the internet, eat fruit or die. You feel me? Like, if you ain't eating fruit at a high level, you ain't this, you ain't that. So now we changing the game, family. We bringing people together. I'm really like, if you really want to be serious about helping the people, you really get in there and do the work. So now we got the Fruit Up Till 5 going free through January, right? Free through January, really to help the people, really to get in there and support the people. How can we come up with ways? What can we do to help more people? Lachey, is there like a problem or an issue you have seen in the community from some of the things or some of the influencers that people are following? Like, I'm gonna give you an example. One of the things I seen over the watermelon washout, people trying to eat 100 days of fruit, not being able to do it, it puts them back in a place they don't want to be. Have you seen anything like that over the summer, Lachey?
I mean, yeah, that's normal. Because you're trying to do something that you've never done before. And depending on where you're coming from, depending on like how you were living, how you were eating prior to that. See, mono eating is almost like a graduate stage. So it's like, that's something that's best done after a transition, after you've weaned yourself off of the worst things. And like, yeah, if you've got like that strong personality where you can go from like eating whatever you've always wanted to eat, and then you come across this concept and it just seems like, oh, I want to challenge myself mentally to do this, then if it's a mental challenge for you, I think it's more successful versus if it's a physical challenge for you. Because the physical body is highly addictive and has been programmed and conditioned to actually want to feed on what it has already been fed, just through the gut microbiome, just simple biology. Now, so depending on your level of mindset, for lack of a better term,
that's what it's all about.
Will make or break whether or not you can be successful on a mono eating challenge. However, if you're a person who has been vegan for a couple of years or a few years or a decade, and you've kind of gone back and forth with raw veganism, you have some experience in that sense, and you've done a lot easier for you to be able to say, you know what? Yeah, I want to challenge myself to do this 100-day mono feast, because you already have kind of put yourself through challenges and these courses of doing like really hard things and challenging your mind. I'm sorry, my background is always so loud. All you just hear is motorcycles and loud cars. But so it just depends, right? Who it is, where they're coming from, what their level of toxicity is, because that affected me. Like, I was doing the watermelon for the second time because I had one round of all watermelon while doing all fruits prior to that, and then I had a second round of all watermelon. And when I got to day 13 of all watermelon the second time around, I started to have some really scary detox crisis. Like, I was starting to feel all of the mucus that I've been harboring in my head, this compacted crystallized mucus, because I was having some serious congestive issues for the course of the past few years. A lot of that was finally starting to come down. It was descending, and that pull from that watermelon was creating a scary detox crisis in my brain. Literally, it felt like there was this pressure pulling. It literally felt like if there was a spirit haunting me, reaching into my skull and holding onto my brain and pulling it up, I felt like something was pulling me in my head. It was like the weirdest symptom. I actually reached out to Tiger talking about it, like, hey, like, I'm going through this, and I ended up ordering some eye drops because he said it sounds like you just need assistance on helping to just like detoxify your head and just clear out all that. And I had to go through that, but I can't even hold you. Like, I did that for as long as I could, and then I kind of went back to eating more denser foods to slow down that detox because it just felt like, ugh, I don't know if I could do this. It just felt like I don't know if I need to go to the emergency room. Like, it was that kind of scary. So what your body goes through when you're going through this stuff, you have to take into account that. And then just you're going to have like stretches of time where you're going to do really well, where you're going to be like 20 days all mono eating, and then you're going to go back to the old cycles of how you were eating before, because that's just how we are conditioned and how we're programmed. And relapse is always a part of the recovery cycle, so to speak. Especially, you know, like eventually you're probably going to get to that point where you're just going to slip up a little bit. And but it's about your mindset and how you take that experience when it happens that's going to determine if you're going to allow yourself to just see it as, okay, yeah, this was what happened, I'm going to start over. Like, I'm just going to continue or start over, however your mindset is in that sense. But it really depends on the leadership that you have. Because if you have leadership that tells you, like, it is what it is, brush yourself off, you didn't do anything wrong, you're like literally in the practice cycle, you're practicing a lifestyle, just like how you will allow your doctor to practice medicine on you, medicines they don't even really know how it could affect your body and all that. You'll put more faith in them than you'll put into yourself to practice a cleansing, a detoxification journey, knowing that you're fighting against highly addictive substances that we have been conditioned to believe to be food, you know. So like, it's a whole unlearning process and relearning process simultaneously. So we have to allow ourselves to get more grace, but it depends on the leadership, because you'll have certain leadership telling you, like, you did nothing wrong, that's a part of it. What did you learn from it? Why do you think you ate that? Were you triggered in some way? Were you going through something emotionally? Like, it's not just a physical journey, it's a mental journey, it's a spiritual journey, it's an emotional journey. A lot is going on when you are abstaining from things that you used to use as a crutch, as a coping mechanism, you know. So you may have a leader that's making you feel like absolute shit for having a slip up and telling you that you're weak and you're a failure, and you know, like, that's the addict in you, and this is like, so how you're going to feel about it is going to be based on the environment that you're having the experience in. So like, I've been in multiple environments during the experience, and I've seen different styles of coaching, and I've seen certain styles of coaching that has been extremely detrimental to people's mental health and can actually lead people into disordered thinking when it comes to their eating. And it's very dangerous, and you have to be very careful on how you coach certain people. You don't know their background, you don't know their emotional health, their history, you don't know. So you have to be careful when you're coaching certain people and you're talking to them in certain kind of ways when they're doing something that their body, when they end up going back to doing something that their body has literally been programmed to do their entire lives until they were introduced to this concept.
Right.
That's a fact. You seen
I
that too?
agree.
You seen something like that too, Tiger? Have you experienced anything like that, Tiger?
Absolutely. You know, I like she was saying, I was just listening to what she was saying. I believe it all comes down to emotional intelligence. Like, you have to, only way to go through that and to gain emotional intelligence is that to actually go through some things and experience some things. Like, I think experience, if you experience something you're on the side of knowing. You're not on the side of just believing or hearing this or hearing that. You're really like, even in relationship, in our relationship, we've been through some things together. You know what I'm saying? You know how when you say you've been through some shit,
Right.
together, and it makes you stronger. I mean, it really does. And that's because of experience. Like, you don't have to guess to see how somebody is going to react if presented in a certain situation. You know what I'm saying? Because you went through it with them, so you know already, and answered that internal question that you had in your head. Um, but I've seen, as far as you asked me, what did I see? Did I see a lot of people like dropping out? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, like backtracking. 'Cause
Backtracking. Oh my goodness.
I'm
Oh
telling you.
yeah. I mean, so many people backtrack just from that reason that she said. It's the approach when you come at them, and the most comfortable thing, because that's what foods are, the comfort foods. The most comforting thing you go to when you get confused, when you get afraid, when you get angry. It's the standard American diet. It's the easiest thing because your body's already wanting it. It's already telling your brain that this is what you need right now to calm down. I need something crunchy because you're angry. That this is what it teaches your body. So we have to unlearn. And then doing that is, you have to go through it. You have to experience it. That's why some people like yourself can just jump into it and decide what you're going to do and do it. But so many others, it takes so many times around, and then that same merry-go-round and that toxic cycle, because they might be learning something new next time, and just learning something different. They might be just learning how to juice this time and got so far, got discouraged, got into something, then they stopped doing it for a while. So next time they start with juicing, and then like she said, learn to transition over, and then work your way up to a mono fruit eating lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? After you already came back around on those two, you know what I'm saying? But um, I believe healing really starts when they take it over. Like when they stop listening to other people, you actually start listening to yourself. Then I believe that's when the true healing starts. And you have to give them enough time for them to see the benefits of whatever you're telling them, whatever you're teaching them, whatever you're trying to get them to do. Once they start seeing those benefits, that's when I believe the true healing begins. They take over and they start actually, uh, putting some of these concepts to work instead of just on here or up at 7 o'clock listening to you every single morning. You know what I'm saying? And like, man, I wish I could do that, but really they can. But you know what I'm saying? They just have to just do it and stick to it. But it sounds a lot easier than it actually is.
The only reason why I asked y'all those questions is because I run a community. I run a group. I've been running groups. I don't never brag on myself, but I've been running less about 13 challenge or something like that. And I, I
Oh,
see it. I see it. I started off as, hey, you better eat fruits or you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that, right? So now I see I had to learn, family. And that's one thing about me. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to learn. In order to help people, you got to meet them where they at. Like
hmm.
it ain't people don't care that I can eat fruits 100 days. They don't. People care
Yeah.
about them feeling better and doing better. So that's what we doing now. We truly, truly changing the format. And I'm appreciative of where I'm at now. Because I'm meeting more people, I'm helping more people, and it's real. This is real. This is reality. In order to succeed in the lifestyle, in order to get better in groups or wherever you at, you cannot pressure people and tell people that they fail at something. I don't care what it is. People gonna leave you alone, and it's a lot of that going on in the community. So, what I want to do is help people no matter where you at. You eat meat, it's a transition for that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like it's a process for that. You ain't got to do what I'm doing right away, and I ain't gonna judge you for not doing what I'm doing right away. And if it take
Hmm.
you 6 months, if it take you a year, I didn't know how long it was gonna take me. I
Hmm.
just kept doing it. I get up and do it every day. So if anything, we about to change the experience for people. And that's all I want to do. I truly, truly want to help people. And I never used to want to help people. So now that I do, I see how to do it. And you don't help people by bashing them and beating them down. So we truly, truly about to change the game. What do you got going on, family, with the herbs and stuff? How is business?
Business, it's truly up and down. I would have to say.
Indeed.
Our best season is always the season that's coming up, and I hate to say it, but it's true. When the seasons change, that's when people get sick, and that's when
Mm,
they start really thinking about their health. So they're like, "Oh, I need my herbs. I need when you getting the tea back in stock." So this month is usually hard for us because people, I guess, they would rather spend their money to get their kids back in school and stuff like that. So that's very understandable. But it's up and down. Like I said, I'm completely honest and transparent. Like last month, we did very well. We were probably like nine. Like I told you, we probably did like nine racks, which is pretty good. And then this month so far, a little over 1,000. So you got, you know what I mean? Those are the things also as an entrepreneur that you got to be ready for. You know what I'm saying? You got to be ready for those types of things. But going on our third year with Soul Fuel, we're used to it. We're getting better at being business owners. We were creatives. She was teaching kids dance. I was teaching kids computers and graphics on computers and doing stuff like that. And also with photography and videography, we were just creatives. And I've always been an entrepreneur. Even if it was with my photography or things like that, and that's what I'm really continuing right now. Matter of fact, let me show you guys what we just did today.
mm.
Unplug some of this stuff. Give me a second.
Do your thing.
This is our typical work. Turn this light on. And this is our typical work on the weekends when we finally get time. We just press up supplements. That's what we do.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Indeed.
it never stops. Um, whether a month is slow or whether the month is really fast, it never stops. We just have to continue producing and continue getting better and better. I'm always in here experimenting. Y'all should see me in here experimenting. I'll be having stuff all over my face. It's like a traveling lab wherever we go because we're in Atlanta right now, so we're not actually at home. We haven't been for the last couple of months, so we move our lab wherever we go, and we came here because for that reason of what last month did. Double and triple our sales because people just understand health a lot better here in Atlanta. I don't know what it is. I don't, you know, I don't know if it's just because of the population is more and more people are just into holistic wellness. But something about down here where you just don't have to sell to people. I'm not a really good salesman. Okay, I'm about being real. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I like to show results and show people what I got going on. You know what I mean? And stay real transparent so they can see what I got going on. And that seems to help a lot better. You know what I mean? So that's we're just going to continue doing that. Um, Also, I'm working on the class, the master class, as you know.
Facts.
Um, we're trying to get all the details together for that. But that's going to be a part of my life's work up to this point. I'm going to put it all into showing people how to do the same thing, showing people how to self heal, showing people how to raise their vibration, and then at the end of it all, show people how they can make it into a business, how they can help, how they can discover other healing modalities so they can apply it to their life. And then if they're interested in that type of stuff, you know what I mean?
That's so good. I
So
love the fact that you
so
said
that's what
that.
I
Like,
got.
the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, man. Like you said, 1 month I'm at 9 grand, 1 month I'm at 1,000, but I gotta keep getting up doing it, finding ways to make money. Lachey, you can probably attest to this. Is it tough? Because a lot of people don't see us working. A lot of people don't see us, the behind the scenes stuff. Is it tough to manage online life with your work life?
For me personally, I'm grateful that I have a high earning day job because I tried to do content creation like how you do it, Bobby, because this is what you do full time. You don't have a day job. So what I do is I work really hard during the day so that I can invest in what makes it easier for me to produce my content, when I do it. So I don't do too much editing and all of that. I'm actually willing to invest in the Fiverr, the people who create flyers, the people who will edit content, the people I haven't even gotten into that yet. Like doing the live stream videos, I really like and appreciate because you don't have to do pre-recorded content and then edit it and then, chop it up and do all of that. Even though I would like to get more into that eventually. I'm hiring out because I personally just am not passionate enough about it to sit here and learn how to chop up, edit, add this, input this, that. It's not for me. I'm learning real fast. So I tried doing coaching. Coaching is not for me. I'm glad I allowed myself to at least give it a try, but I struggle with working with people who are making no progress. They're not doing assignments, they're not doing the things that's supposed to work. And I'm not an adult babysitter. And I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my time with people. And also I just don't think it's for me. I don't have the passion to even invest in the programs to be a coach or become a better coach. And it's just, you learn yourself by doing. And I have done things and I'm just knowing it's not an energetic match for me. What I love is this though. I love the podcasting. I love having my weekly shows and having amazing discussions and conversations with really high level people. That's my lane because that's just what I do naturally. I believe that we should do things that are in alignment with what we are naturally good at. Sure, we can refine our skills. We can invest in becoming better at those things. However, I feel like there needs to be some sort of baseline passion for it and something that you're just inherently good at. I know I'm a good speaker. I know that I'm a good conversationalist. I know that I love sitting down and I could talk for hours with certain people about really profound things and go really in depth and have lots of insight. I love to read. I love to share what I read. I love to teach. I love to educate. And so you just have to know what you're good at and then just do it. Essentially, you're just having the courage to get on camera and be yourself. And a lot of people have a hard time doing that because they're worried about being judged. They're worried about what the people in their personal lives are going to think about them, their coworkers, because now they're evolving and becoming something that they've never allowed themselves to be before. And it takes a lot of courage to step out and not be the same person that everybody always saw you as or expected you to be, the same personality. Because a lot of times in our day-to-day lives, we filter who we truly are. We don't open up. We don't show people our quirkiness, and we don't talk about the things that make us feel alive, and we don't let our hair down and just be who we would be in front of our spouse or in front of the people that we are really comfortable with and we love. And I think that we have to learn how to be how we are with our spouse and be how we are with the people that we are comfortable with and love, just as we are, because we are enough and we don't need a reason, and we don't have to walk around with a guard up constantly worrying about what somebody's going to think because we're being ourselves or we're actually sharing a thought that we know most people are going to disagree with. I think that once you get to that point, you're going to start to reach a new level of achievement in life. You're going to start gravitating, you're going to be naturally rewarded by God or the universe to where you're actually supposed to be. And the people who resonate with you or are magnetized to your natural way of being and your message is going to come along. And then that's when things are going to start to flourish. So I believe that when we are being ourselves and we're just getting in front of these cameras and we're being so-called content creators, a content creator is a person who's just brave enough to be who they want to be in front of a camera, or they're acting and they're scripting and they're just creating. And I think that's all it is like you're just being a divine creator, whether you're being authentic or whether you're being who you want to be. Either way, you're not doing it wrong. And however you want to go about it is just determined on the amount of time you have to put into it and the amount of energy you want to put into it. So me personally, I want to put time and energy into it, but I don't want to sit down and learn how to do anything. I would much rather be like grateful for my day job and be like, you know what? I'm in sales. I'm about to get my butt up. Because actually getting into content creation has made me more motivated to get up every day and hustle. So that not only am I making enough money to take care of my living expenses, but I get to actually start doing the traveling that I want to do to create content in different restaurants for different raw vegan spots, and to invest in things like signs and better equipment and things of that sort. And that's like the easiest way to create quality content without having to jump through hoops or buy all these programs or do the most, or spend hours trying to learn how to do something, how to edit, how to work a program. I would much rather to just give my money to somebody who does that, build a team. And that's the angle I'm going, just being grateful for what I have in my life and investing into it. But not everybody has that luxury. So it just depends on what you have. Like, again, starting where you're at, that doesn't only go for what you're eating, but anything that has to do with where you're at in life in general. Start with what you have, with where you're at right now. So if you have the luxury of having enough money to invest in something that you want to create, and that's the easiest way for you to go about it without the stress of like I used to try to edit my own stuff. Do you know how frustrated I was with Clipchamp, like trying to learn how to use these things and create reels? I never produced a single piece of content because I couldn't get past the learning curve because of the frustration. Every time I would try, I would spend hours and then I wasn't able to produce what I was trying to do. I gave up. So it just depends on where you're at. Ultimately.
A lot of people don't see the behind the scenes work put into this, Mr. Carper. They don't see us like it's literally. I told you this the other day. I said, if you right now know you want to be a content creator, you want to follow your dreams or whatever that is, then do you know that you gonna have to sign up for something? You don't know what you're getting into. You're gonna work a lot harder for a lot less money. This is something that you really have to have a passion to do. You really have to have a passion to help others and want to see others win, because that's what it takes for you to get up and do this every single day at a very high level with consistency.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I think whatever you do, you got to have some passion for it, because when you run into those rough days, you just got to have that why there to remember why you're doing it. Like that's what makes people get up to go to work in the morning. You're like, I got to pay these bills. Like that's my why. And, you know what I'm saying? But when you're doing it, it's not if you're doing like what I'm doing, like we just decided to show people our lifestyle, because after a while, sometimes you forget. And this was interesting what Lachey said about the coaching, because it was hard for me coaching at first too, because it just somewhere along my journey, I forgot about what it took for me to get started and how hard it was for me to get started. And I was just like, well, I'm explaining it simple enough. Why don't they just listen? Why don't they understand? You know what I'm saying? But it's just so many different people going through so many different things. Like some people didn't want to, they weren't trying to reverse an illness. Some people were just trying to lose a little bit of weight. Some people were just trying to change their eating habits. So there were so many different things, and we were just throwing like blanket statements over things, just like eat fruit, do this, do that, and you should be all right. And then you know, and then like she said also at coaching, you know, um, you don't want to be disappointed at anybody. You know what I'm saying? But um, she didn't get as far as that. But sometimes you get to work with somebody and they come so far, and you build them up so far, and you see the progress that they have, and then you know it just takes one thing or one slip up, as they like to call it, to just go running back the other direction. Like that to me was just heartbreaking. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right.
so after a while you learn and you just don't take it personal. You know what I'm saying? You're just happy with the progress that they get because you remember, like that's how, like I remember, I'm like, duh, that's how I was when I started too. I was hard headed. I had to go through it a few times. I had to learn. Had to have Monica laughing at me when I was eating my last piece of chicken, like just shaking her head at me. I remember her face just like, mm. And then and then it all came back up. It was like my body finally learned to reject. I haven't had it in so long, eating fruit, mono eating stuff like that. My body was like, no, where you been? Like, why are you eating this now? It wasn't me that actually had to make the decision. It was my body, and I just wanted to get everybody that I dealt with to that point. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, if I can get everybody to this point, you know what I'm saying, it would be great. But so many have failed. You know what I'm saying? There's very few people that um, make it far as we are, and we got to remember that. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, and I'm not just saying that to be like, oh yeah, we've made it. I'm still working on things all the time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that was another thing. I felt kind of guilty taking people's money to be learning as I go, but I'm sitting here teaching them some things along the way. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I always felt like I needed more experience, but that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. Like she said, I just needed to be more confident and believe in myself because everybody that was coming into it is because they needed to know the knowledge that I had and the knowledge that they wanted to know. So I had to remember that, and that changed everything. So that changes the way I do consultations and everything now. Like she said, there's some things you need to learn about, like that are relevant. Their mental health. You know what I'm saying? What are they dealing with at home? Because nobody's going to want to focus on trying to eat fruits or go mono eating or trying some supplements if they're getting beat at home or if they're you know what I'm saying, like, or if they're doing heavy drugs at home. Nobody's thinking about no supplements. You know what I'm saying? They're
Right.
gonna be looking at them like, what? I ain't taking none of this crap. Like, what is that? I need me some whatever their addiction is. You know what I'm saying? There's some people off with still dealing with those type of addictions that they're not. Health is. I know people, personally, that health is just not even in the realm. It sounds good because they see us and they see the benefits we're getting from it. So they keep a close ear, they keep close to us, but they haven't went to take that first step yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Until there's times like we're running up on now where they start telling you about COVID's coming back around, monkeypox, and all this other stuff, and then people are concerned for their health again. It's like,
See,
man, I haven't seen you in 4 years.
see,
Sorry, go
and
ahead.
that's the thing, right? So it sucks that we have to deal with these agendas from the big brother, to use coded language, but it benefits this space, right? Because now
Mm,
people, they pay a little bit more attention. Like, so you'll probably start making more money. But like,
absolutely.
people became more interested in sea moss. People became more interested in grapeseed oil, and people, not grapeseed oil, black seed oil,
Yeah.
and people
Mm,
became more interested in all these supplements when COVID came around. because they knew that they were alternative forms of healing versus using the pharmaceuticals that were being prescribed, or
Right.
so like, it's funny how, as much as it sucks for the collective for these agendas to be pushed on us, because ultimately we know that they want to force an inoculation program, an inoculation agenda on the collective, but it does benefit business owners like you ultimately. And you have made a statement about how in Atlanta people seem to be more health conscious, and you don't really have to sell anything to anyone. It's like they just found out this is what you serve and they're with it. Probably because you're so close to the CDC. I think we have a inherent distrust in the government. And when you're so close to that's one thing that keeps me from wanting to move to Atlanta. The fact that it's literally the home city of the Center for Disease Control. And if you watch the Night of the Living Dead, what is that show with the zombies?
The Walking Dead.
Yeah, The Walking Dead. Most movies of any kind of outbreak or pandemics or things of that sort, it always start in Atlanta. They always have predictive programming. So I'd be wanting to live out there because I hear about how supportive the Black businesses are. It's the Black Mecca, and it's where you need to be. But that was what makes me skeptical. Like, okay, well, we know who we dealing with. The powers that be. That we're constantly a target. We know about Black Wall Street. We know about the similar cities. They weren't the only ones that was targeted by the United States government, because we decided that we wanted to be our own economic group, working together, creating generational wealth in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods, being professionals, minding our own business like every other group gets to practice in this country and in this world. But when we do it, we're somehow a threat to the establishment. And now it's like you have that in Atlanta. And now you coincidentally also have the Center for Disease Control.
Facts.
So for me, I'm just personally too skeptical.
Facts.
Yeah. I used to think about that with any big city. You know what I mean? It's really tough. I used to be such a big conspiracy theorist. I used to have a plan A, plan B, states that I'm going to go to, bomb shelters that I'm going to visit. You know what I'm saying? So if anything broke out, like, you just want to be away from a big city altogether. You know what I mean? I can't imagine trying to get out of traffic, trying to get out of Atlanta if something happened. It just wouldn't even be worth it right now at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go through traffic on a regular busy day. You know what I'm saying? When there's an accident, there's accidents every single day. I couldn't imagine trying to get out of town. You know what I'm saying? To a less populated area. You know what I'm saying? That would be really hard. But right now, like I said at the beginning when we first started talking, I'm learning the business side of things. You know what I'm saying? I want to get better at growing a business. My first couple years, it was about establishing the business, making it adding more value to the business. So now, and a lot of it, to be honest with you, to be completely honest, it was under the table. I was still with the hustler's mentality, like, okay, no, I don't got to let the government in on what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to do it under the table for now and just keep it going. That's how it was, because I still had another job at the time. But whenever we was waiting to go back to work from the pandemic, we were offered to get shots, to get the jab. So we didn't want to get the jab. So we was like, that's when we wanted to make sure, like, all right, we got to do everything that we need to do in order to make this a legitimate business, so we can keep this running, and keep this thing going.
Facts. Hey man, this is I don't think people truly understand. Maybe they do. What it takes to really indulge into the lifestyle. Appreciate the work that you do behind the scenes. Like, they don't see you and Monica putting the capsules together. They don't see y'all packaging, going to the post office, making trips and all of that. So that's the business, though. And
that's the business.
That's the business, and getting online and marketing and promoting and doing interviews and all of that. That's the business. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's a process. It's a whole big process to this, and you got to start where you at. And that's what I can appreciate about what we doing. We bringing people together, and we helping people start where they at. And that's the message now. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
other than that, that's what I'm doing now. I'm focused on really bringing community and really bringing unity. So without saying anything else, Tiger, we like to give our guests the floor to tell anything they got going on. Somebody already asked for your Instagram, so you want to start with that first.
Man, I thought we already did that. I thought you already gave me the floor, but that's all right. I'll take it.
No,
So,
take it again. Take it again.
all right. I'm not really on Instagram. Quick story. Around the time of the pandemic, I was posting anti-jab shots, so I got suspended for like 180 days, lost over 6,000 followers. But if you wanted to follow me on IG, I do connect things through my Facebook to go to my IG. I'm Tiger Carper on Facebook, but on IG, it's actually Soul Fuel underscore IG. You can find that on my profile on Facebook. I connect things to my YouTube as well, but I keep that just in case they cut me off here on Facebook. And I have that as another platform to just go live and talk about some things because you're not allowed to. You get shadow banned when you talk about natural herbs, and I have to be able to promote the product. And just for the listeners out there and all the people that ask me what happened to my reviews, the reviews are back up again. I actually was able to capture all of my reviews before they were pulled off my page. So if you go to soulfuelsupplements.com and go to reviews, you'll be able to see all the wonderful reviews. You might be able to find a story that's similar to your story, and it might help you find a supplement or herb that you're looking for. I also wanted to give a shout out to Bobby and Lachey. I seen Bobby transition from, like he said, just being blunt, just eating fruits to becoming much more to the community, to the people that were supporting him, and those are the changes that we love to see in life, not just here on the internet. Real lives being affected and changing for the better. And so those people that Bobby that you affect, I'm sure they have families that energy that you spent is going to transfer over into them because that's what a job is. That's what we exchange our time, our in our energy for those dollars. So those dollars are energy also. They're currency. Respect to you turning it into a profitable business, and also to you, Lachey, also for I think that's what originally drew me to you in the first place whenever you came in my group a couple years ago. I think it was a couple years ago before you dropped out and took some social media time off. It was your conversation, your realism, in order to and your transparency to talk about these subjects. And I seen you take that and discover that being your passion and actually made a podcast called Betterism. You know what I'm saying? I think that was a good title. Because you always talked about how you don't have to be perfect, just get better. And I also coach that too and preach that. And I think that's the perfect title for that. To get better, it's betterism. You know what I mean? Just to continue getting better. And yeah, that's about it, guys.
Fire, fire. Hey man, we always love to have you on, Tiger, man. And I definitely, can appreciate your words right there because this what we doing is truly for the people. And and if it's not about the people, you shouldn't be doing it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely coming together with you. We like me and you got a lot of collaboration coming up. We're gonna be working together. So people gonna be looking out for that. Would you say soulfuelsupplements.com? Lachey, you got any
Yeah.
last words?
As always, I just want to say thank you, Tiger. I love when you're on the platform. I love how versatile and diverse and how nuanced our discussions can be. I don't want to typecast myself or this platform at all into it only being based on just like food. You know, like I want us to realize that food is the foundation, and all it is just a conductor of energy for our biological vessels. And we
Mm.
only want to put what's best into our bodies and into our minds. And I feel like platforms like this help feed the mind while we're preaching to feed the body. And like that's always going to be our base message. But I do think it's important to talk about and discuss other aspects of life. I do believe that it is important to talk about the politics, to talk about geopolitical social events and happenings, because these things do affect us, whether we want it to affect us or not. And however, I do believe that it starts from the inside. Like you can't change the world without changing yourself. So it's going to always start with what you're feeding yourself, what you are putting into your mind. And I think it's good to have a niche, but it's also important to not typecast, because when people start only expecting a certain conversation from you and you have other passions, you have other things inside of you that you want to discuss, you should be able to feel free to have those discussions, because it all feeds each other. Like you want to have the base foundation of putting what's best inside of you so that we create the physical integrity to be able to interpret everything else that goes on around us, so that we develop certain boundaries and standards for the things outside of us that try to penetrate our existence. I try to control how we get to move and how we get to live. And that's what governments are. Governments is to control the mind, govern to control the mind. Etymologically, it is important for us to have self-governance so that we know what boundaries to uphold when anything outside of us tries to impede on how we get to live. And there are a lot of things that are being put into the food supply, into the water supply, into the media, which penetrates our minds. So we have to be the counterbalance. We have to be the revolution, so to speak, that isn't televised. We have to use digital media in order to fight for our rights, to fight for our autonomy, to fight for our existence, to survive. So I do believe that what we're doing is highly important. I love having Tiger on specifically because he is very well versed and we can have these conversations. And, you know, he has a mind of his own. You said, like you used to be the conspiracy. So have I. And I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist. These are things that are going on, and I'm not living with cognitive dissonance, and neither are none of us. And like Bobby said, he got into this space of fruitarianism because he was a truther. And I think that we attract people who are like that. So having these multi-faceted and diverse discussions about all things is highly important, because yeah, sure, what we put inside of us is like the bare minimum, you know, like it should be bare minimum that we want to take care of ourselves. So, but we have to deconstruct what we have been programmed and indoctrinated to do to ourselves, because we have been programmed to self-destruct. So now we have to unlearn self-destruction so that we can reconstruct and rebuild ourselves into people who are just like in the process of being better human beings. Like we're literally infants in this process. We're still infants, you know, like when you look at the macrocosm of what we're doing, I don't care if you have 10 years under your belt, you're still an infant in this journey, because we are unlearning everything that has been thrown at us very intentionally with an agenda, with billions of dollars behind it to make us be the worst versions of ourselves so that we can be a commodity, so to speak, for all these different industries that make tons of money when we are sick, when we are dumb, when we are just not conscious. So end it there because I could obviously go on a whole entire spill for way longer. But thank you so much. I appreciate you for being on the platform, so we're allowed to have these conversations and bring it to our audience. And I like to consider myself a thought leader. And I believe that we're all thought leaders and we're all leaders in our own right. Like, you're the herbalist, you are the healer. This is what you bring. Like, Bobby is also a thought leader. He's also a motivator. He gets people excited to want to take care of themselves. Like, that is a true talent, because it's hard to get people to want to get up and walk every single day. It's hard to get people to want to just literally sit there and only eat fruit and fight their addictions. Like, that's hard, but you have like a natural talent to do that and keep doing that. You are literally a star that came from the cosmos, and you were brought here and you came through your mother to go through your struggles and go through the dark so that you could be the light that you are today. Same for you, Tiger. Like, same thing. You had to go through what you went through to get to where you are right now, to heal people, and you have a passion for it. And, same thing for me. I had to go through what I went through in order to get to this point, to be not afraid to use my voice. Like, when I stopped using my voice, I started to develop health issues in my throat because I'm governed by the throat chakra. And when I started to silence myself because I was caring about what people believed or felt about me when I spoke my truth, it was almost like I was punished for it, because like whatever my soul contract was, I was like doing the opposite of that. So it's like, so if we ain't going to be here to do what we put you here to do, we're just going to cut your life short because you're not on your mission. And I believe that that is the truth for everybody. If you are experiencing something in your life right now, it's probably because you're not on your mission. So really think about what your life purpose is. And I have my show. You guys can always tune in. It's every week. There's no specific days. It's usually either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. The Betterism podcast. I have special guests come on and they talk about their health transformations. I've had doctors come on. We have really insightful discussions, and it's just another platform for people to just like be able to absorb this information as they're going through their personal journeys. And thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate you. We don't have a podcast if we don't have you, your viewership, if your support. So thank you so much. And you get us up here every day, keeping us on our toes.
That's a fact. And I was just, and you know what? I was, going to say thank you to every single person who always tuning in. Continue to tune in. We definitely appreciate y'all. The love is real. We will continue to show up and show out. That's my motto. Show up and show out. Because if you don't show up, you cannot show out. Fruit Up family, we appreciate y'all. What a wonderful show. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. And we're going to take off like that. Fruit Up family.
Love you all.
Peace.
Love y'all. Peace.